Good morning, guys. I hope you are all doing well. Happy Wednesday. It is the 21st of January, 2026. And as always, this is your daily market outlook by myself, Liam, or you guys call me Coach by Chambers, whatever you want to call me. But as always, before we get into the actual market analysis, I want to make sure that you know that the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. Um, and nothing shared in my video should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Trading and investing always involves risk, so you should do your, own research every single time before making any financial decisions. Understand that any past performances discussed does not guarantee future results. Also, you are responsible for your own financial decisions. So, with that being said, let's move on to the charts and see what is going on. And as you guys can see, we're going into Wednesday the 21st. So, we've obviously had some news this morning, red folder news for the Great British Pound, CPI news. And then going into later on, we've got WEF annual meetings. So we've got this one. President Trump also speaks. So that's around half two. So yeah, I'm expecting some sort of volatility inside of the markets today. So that is something that we can, keep an eye on definitely. And then obviously going into the rest of the week, we do have quite a lot of heavy news for some currencies. So yeah, if you guys don't obviously look at the news, I highly advise that you do or you start doing. Go to forexfactory.com, and if you go into the calendar here, you can see all of the news events that are happening, which obviously make a massive impact on the markets. Fundamentals is so important. And if you guys want, like, if you go to this part here, you'll not be able to notice that I've cut out like the yellow folder and grey folder news because it's not really impactful on the charts. But if you have the red folder and also the orange folder, and then apply the filter to all of the currencies, yeah, that'll be that'll be exactly what I've got here. So you can see the red folder and mid orange folder news. So with that being said, let's have a look at what's going on. I'm just going to go to the daily time frame first for, let me just get rid of this, for US dollar. And as you guys can currently see, let me just do it from the naked eye. We are, in fact, let's have a look at this first. We have a daily demand area down here, which we haven't mitigated. When we was in this trend, if you guys remember, I was expecting a pullback into this daily demand to then carry on, but we still haven't had that as of right now. Now, for me, we went from lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, failed to go and create a new lower low and new lower high. We broke above this, meaning that we had a daily change. So for me, if you look at where we're currently at, you can see that this is a fresh daily demand area with some imbalance above. So let me just make that like this. You can see this daily demand area is what caused this movement up, and we have some imbalance above. So first thought is, can we potentially see, you know, this being our next leg to go and create a new daily high? That's what I'm thinking as of right now. If you look at the way the candle finished yesterday from a daily candle, you can see that we come in and then the volume lessened as well. So a bit interesting to see if we can get some sort of movement away bullish with the US dollar. But then also, I still do like this daily demand area below here. So I'm not counting it out that we do, become bearish. But let's play what we see. That is something that is so important. You've got to play what you can see. Now going into the four. Going into the 4 hour, let's have a look straight away from. But you can see, look, this was our 4 hour leg. We've broken below, so this is my range or my day 4 hour leg as of right now. And I'm just going to look from the naked eye. What can I see? Well, I can see that there's been a lot of things, a little mini pullbacks and mitigated areas. This has pulled back and mitigated this, and we're currently in a 4 hour supply as of right now. So let me just remove this for 1 second. You can see we have this 4 hour supply. And the reason this is my 4 hour supply is because we had market move down. This is a pullback on the 1 hour, tap into this 4 hour candle, and then we had this movement down. So, and the 4 hour candle again is there. So for me, that is why I'm still bearish on the US dollar on the 4 hour. And that's exactly what I'm keeping my eye on because if you look at where the market is right now, Yes, we're in a daily demand. Let me just make sure we can see that daily on this time frame so we don't get mixed up. Yes, we're on a daily in a daily demand as of right now. Um, And obviously, if you look, you can see that inside that daily demand, we're inside this, last 4 hour demand area here as well. So, we obviously think that we could go bullish, but I'm not, counting out the fact that the 4 hour is bearish and we're in this 4 hour supply. Now, if I go to the 1 hour, what can I see? Well, you can see from the 1 hour that, we're trapped in between this 4 hour supply and at the moment, this 1 hour demand area. So, it depends on how you trade, how aggressive you are or not aggressive you are, on how you would want to play this. So if you look at this scenario we've had, pull back into that 4 hour candle, pull down, markets pull back. We're expecting this. We're expecting the next 4 hour leg. Now, that is a possibility. We are still in supply. Supply is still in control. But if you look at this scenario where we've had on a 1 hour, we come low. We went high, created a 1 hour lower high, or 15-minute lower high, sorry. Failed to go and create a new lower low, created a new higher low and a new 15-minute higher high. And that's exactly where we're at right this in this moment in time, is this 1 hour demand area. So, you could see a bounce from here like this. So what I'm trying to say is me personally is I'm gonna wait and see. Let's say if the market from here reacts and we break above this high, I would then be looking at targeting, longs for the dollar. I'd be then looking at targeting longs for the dollar. If we break below this low, I am going to be targeting shorts for the dollar. Even though shorts are still in control, I am targeting shorts from this area, but I'm at about from today's perspective, and I'll be targeting this like that. So hopefully that makes sense. If you want to be a bit more aggressive, what you can do is you can obviously wait for this low to be broken here to participate in the markets. And obviously, if you get a clean supply area, you can, obviously look for something like that. Um, so yeah, let's see what happens going into obviously today. I'm expecting obviously one of these sides to get broken, and then we can obviously make a decision what we want to do in regards to the US dollar. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Going on to the major pairs, Euro USD, you can see currently. I'll explain from a higher time frame first what's going on, and then we can look at the lower time frames. Daily, if you guys remember, we talked about this 4 hour imbalance and this 1 hour imbalance that we have, which has caused an amazing reaction from. If you look at it from a daily perspective, obviously we're in this whole leg. Like if you focus on this structure, lower high, failed to go and create a new lower low and breaking this low here. So what happened is we got a retracement, we had a change of trend, so we created a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, failed to go and create a new higher low and higher high, and then we had this big dump off here. So this is my daily leg as of right now, is from, here to obviously this low. So what I'm trying to say is if you look at the weekly time frame, for instance, if you look at the weekly, that is a weekly supply candle, which is where we're slowing down as of right now. So obviously, it's a bit of a tricky one for people to understand what's going on. But what I can tell you guys is from this inside this daily leg, we've retraced right now to the. Let's make sure that's right. We have retraced right now to the extreme level of this area, the premium area of this area, which is around the 786, 886. Now, again, if you know me, which you guys do, plugging into this, you'll know that I always talk about if we come above the 50%, that's when we can get the reaction from. So, I am really playing off what the dollar is doing with Euro USD, and I'm focusing on, understanding what is the dollar doing, and then that will give me bias for Euro USD. Now, from a 4 hour perspective, we talked about yesterday, coming into these lower parts of this 4 hour demand area, and we have another 1 hour demand area here. again, we talked about the fact that I like this 4 hour demand um, because there's a lot of imbalance below this 1 hour one. So that is obviously where I'm expecting the market to, potentially come into, so that then we can make a decision on, or I can make a decision on, going long if it makes sense from these areas below. Because this is the 4 hour. You can see this is the 4 hour leg right now. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So as of right now, from a 4 hour, I'll be looking to see if we can get some sort of retracement either into these demand areas, predominantly this one, and then go bullish from here, breaking a new higher high. That would be the scenario that I'm looking for. So let's see what happens in regards to that. But then looking at the 1 hour, 1 hour is giving obviously shorts or short opportunities at this moment in time where you can see what's happening is if we're expecting the market or I'm expecting the market to, come down, lower in and fill in these imbalances and come into a demand, you can see that the market has been, you know, let me move this, obviously high, all this bullishness, and you can see 1 hour had a higher low, failed to go and create a new higher high, then we had this change of trend. We had this change of trend, which was breaking of this higher low here, and then market pulled back into this 1 hour supply where the imbalance was, pulled back in, and then as soon as I seen that this candle here broke away, this give us some volume. That was my entry to look into buy shorting this Euro USD. Let me just zoom in so you guys can fully see that. I don't know how it looks on YouTube. But you can see 1 hour supply, 1 hour break of this low here, just so you can double check. We come into this supply, waited, got this candle, left a lot of imbalance. That was my fresh 1 hour supply. Market come in and obviously started moving away. So yeah, that would be obviously the a setup for this morning, London session for Euro USD. Pardon me. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to try and see what happens if we can short this down into these areas. Let's see. What you guys can obviously wait for if this holds. Obviously, we need the dollar to go bullish. We need the dollar to go bullish for this to hold. And if that was the case, if dollar was going bullish and we're looking to short Euro USD, I'd just probably wait for, well, first to see how this candle finishes, which isn't looking too good at the moment. I was hoping the candle finishes, finished fully like a full candle and not a large wick so that we could look for a pullback and then obviously target, lower again. But let's see. Let's see what's going on. Now, GU, going into GU, a little bit different to your USD. Well, it's all the same, but still a little bit different. You'll be able to notice from the daily that we're still, stuck in this demand area, but we did get that bullishness away from here, but we failed to go and break this daily lower high. So again, you guys will know from tuning in the past couple of days or past couple of weeks, should I say, this is a daily lower high, this is a daily lower low. Let me just mark this out so it doesn't get confusing. I'm going to make it a blue just for now. So you guys can see. So that is the daily range. That was a daily change of trend, and we retraced into the deepest part of this daily leg. So, obviously, if the dollar goes bullish, we want to see, this carry on, break this low, and obviously get that trend downwards. So that is a first thought. Now, of course, does that mean it's going to happen? No, of course not. And we've got to play the lower time frames as well. Now, coming into where we're currently at, you can see that the market is, if you look at the trend on the 4 or the internal structure, we say, you can see that we mitigated this area, pulled back, and then we just had this big range here. So nothing's as clean as we would like, but we've got to play what this leg is telling us. And this leg is telling us that we had a demand area here when the market broke above, and that's exactly where we're at. The market obviously tapped into this, but we are just chilling at this moment in time inside of this demand area and inside of this new demand area, which we talked about yesterday. Yesterday we had pretty good reactions from this. So remember we talked about this 1 hour demand, and we was talking about the fact that this is our next area that we want to look for longs. I got in GU yesterday from this area here and got hit out at break even. So I was longing it from here. It had a nice reaction, but then we had this dump off. Obviously, that hit me out at break even. And if I look at the trend right now, if you follow the trend that's happening right now, the market dumped off, right? Dumped off. And then where did it come into? Look, it's coming to, this area of 1 hour supply, 1 hour supply, and then it's starting to move away. So if the market carries on down, let me just remove this line. If the market carries on down, and if we get a break of either this low or this low, I would look for shorting opportunities if the dollar is going to give it us, shorting opportunities for a pullback to carry on downwards. That's what I'll be keeping my eye on for GU. But we'll have to see a break of this low or a break of this low and then a fresh 1 hour supply area to be able to obviously trade this. Going into the other part of it, the 30-minute, 15-minute. 1 second. Yeah, there's nothing really clear for me to look for as of right now. I just want to see what happens. Like, I want it to give me GU to give me some bearishness or some bullishness so that I can make a decision if that makes sense. Because as of right now, the dollar is obviously just doing what the dollar's doing, and we need to see something. We need to see something. Of course, an entry would have been same as EU, but not as clean. Obviously, market come back into this 1 hour supply. We had this pull away, and where it currently is right now is this 1 hour. Let me just remove this 1 hour supply candle, which is where the market is kind of being choppy in as of right now. So yeah, obviously not as clean as EU was. That's why I didn't participate in GU. So that is where we're currently at. I want to see this low or this low broke to participate, or this high broke to participate in longs. Here we get this, and we get a nice, movement above, fresh demand area. Then we can look to, I can look to long this. That's GU. Going into NZUSD, didn't get any pullback at all yesterday. If you guys remember, we were talking about this, this daily leg basically. Eventually, we will get a pullback of this because that's just how trading works. We always get volume, and then eventually we always come back. We always get some sort of pullback. Usually, even right now, I'm expecting this whole daily leg that happened, this whole weekly leg, where this imbalance is. I'm expecting to see some sort of bullishness eventually into this supply. But if you look at this, you'll be able to notice that we had this daily change of trend, but was still in this demand. This was a daily, higher high. This is a new daily. Sorry, I got that wrong. That was a daily higher high, daily higher low, pulled back, failed to go and create a new high. Then we had this as a lower high, lower low, and then we get this bullishness. My bad. And then we've gone back bullish. We've gone from bearish back to bullish. So daily demand candle is down here. You guys should be able to see this is the last consolidation candles that caused the movement up. So I'm expecting a retracement eventually into this, but it's not happening right now. 4 hour is ugly. It's just been extremely trending from here on here from this demand area that I called out. Let me just do this, around 118 pits on this demand area, which is obviously pretty cool. So yeah, I'm not interested in NU, as you guys can see, and I'm not even going to talk about NU. AU is pretty much the same. I was waiting for an entry yesterday in this 4 hour demand area, which we talked about. We didn't get that. It didn't pull back for us, which is pretty gutting to be fair, because I thought it was a clean setup. So yeah, obviously not the best scenario to have when you've got a lot of imbalance below here. But what's happening right now is on the 4 hour, you can see the market's got some volume. I want to see how this candle finishes in the next hour. And then obviously if the candle finishes nicely, that'll be our next 4 hour demand area that we can, look for. And then obviously we can target long in this with a high here, which we can use as a liquidity. So we can see something like the candle finishing as it is, the candle body finishing above these highs, then we can expect to see a pullback to then obviously go long, targeting these highs, and then we probably do have some more liquidity that we can target to my left hand side. So yeah, hopefully we can see that going into today. Let's keep an eye out on that for AUD USD. Now, if we drop down to the 1 hour, can we refine this a little bit more? The 2 hour, 1 hour? Yeah, you can. So again, if you want to be a bit more easier with easy is probably the wrong word, but a bit more like this. Basically, this candle, obviously, this 4 hour demand area is a bit big. So if you want to have it a little bit smaller, you can obviously refine that to either where this imbalance started here. That would be one scenario. You can have that as your 1 hour demand. Or if you wanted to, because there's still some imbalance, you can start from the extreme level of this demand area. Um, to obviously look for longs for better risk to reward. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. That's what I will be doing. Yeah, man, that is AUD USD. USD CHF. Let's see what she is doing. Go to the daily time frame. You guys will know that we talked about this 4 hour supply area, which we did not mitigate. So we did not mitigate this 4 hour supply candle, but we got a lot of volume down. So we're still in this daily leg from this lower high to this lower low. And yeah, man, obviously the next shorting area from a daily time frame, if we don't hit this again, because we could still come up to this and take out this high and fill in this imbalance, would probably just be around this daily supply candle here. So that'll be obviously from a daily perspective. Now, again, looking at the four, what we're doing right now is if we're trying to potentially long this into these areas, what I'd be waiting for is obviously, well, you guys can see we're in this 4 hour demand right now. We've had, a little reaction from this. If you look at from the edge of the four, we've had about a 26, currently about a 18 to 20 pip reaction from this demand. Now, from the 4 hour, nothing really is major, where it's like, yeah, that's like a clean setup. But if we just drop down to the 2 and 1 to have a look, you can see that the market is messing around quite a lot. Um, but you can see that the market obviously pulled back, created a lower high, failed to go and create a new low and break this, and then we've had this area here right now. It's not the cleanest of breaks above this, truthfully. So if I was looking at this, let me just look at the 2 hour again. Depending on what's going to happen, I would expect the market to react if it was going to carry on bullish from this area here. That's our 1 hour demand. Oh, 1 hour demand, sorry. Or the lower levels here as a 1 hour demand, which also has imbalance above this, below this one. And if the market wants to dip lower and take this forward 1 hour demand out, we have imbalance to fill, like I just said, and we have these lows that we can use as liquidity to then use as a bounce. And then obviously target all of this imbalance. Yeah, man, that's something that I will be keeping my eye on for USD CHF. Of course, we can just pull back into this and then carry on bullish as well if we want to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see, how USD CHF reacts from these areas or this area here. Is it going to dip or is it going to, hold? Let's see. Going into USD Japanese yen, starting the daily, what can we see? Well, from a daily, this is my daily demand candle, which or area which I'm waiting for the market to get back into. Um, I want to see if it can get down into this and then potentially look to take up this higher high as our new um, liquidity target for a long term. But if you look at the scenario, what's going on, you can see that the internal we had a obviously here we had a higher low, failed to go and create a new high. We created a new what? Well, this ended up being a lower high because this candle here broke, creating a new lower low in the four. In fact, let's just look at the four. A bit more cleaner. I don't know why I was doing it on the daily. Basically, what I'm saying is market pulled back on the four, failed to create a new higher high from this demand area, ended up creating a new trend on the four. This will be our lower low. now our 4 hour lower high. Market retraced into this 4 hour supply, and then we're getting that bearish, movement away from there, which we actually talked about as well. We talked about being trapped between this 4 hour supply and demand, and from this supply candle that I talked about, it is being moving, so it's giving us around 60 pips from here. It's giving us around 60 pips from there at this moment in time, but it did actually move. If you look down into this, it did actually move around 100 pips. So, giving you this 4 hour supply area, I've, given you 100 pips on the table for you guys to make a decision from, of course. Um, and then obviously from the other scenario, the bullish scenario, you can see that the market from the top of this range gave us around at top 60 pips to play with. You can see that it come back down, and we said about this 1 hour demand. So yeah, stuff is there. What I'm going to do is with USD Japanese yen, you can see what's going on is we come back in, at this moment in time, we failed to break this higher high. The market has basically come back into this supply candle here, as you guys can see, filled in that imbalance, and now we're getting this bearishness away. Now, for me, the next area that I've been looking for is around this 1 hour supply area to look for shorts. This 1 hour supply, let me just have a look at the 2 and the 4. That's a 1 hour, of course, but let's see how this 4 hour candle finishes in 50 odd minutes. But yeah, that's what I would like to see. Potential, shorts from here, targeting these lows, and then potentially even just targeting coming into the daily demand area, which we obviously just talked about. And if we can get that, it would be amazing because that would give us around, let's see, that would give us around 100 pips to potentially capture. So, yeah, man, that is USD Japanese yen. Let's see how she reacts and how she moves going into the rest of today. As you guys know, I talked about it yesterday. With any pairs that trade in the Japanese yen, you can obviously utilize the Japanese yen basket like we do with the dollar and the major pairs. And yeah, man, if you look at this, just so I can show you why I'm interested in this. Even though this is our daily leg, the market has failed at this moment in time to go and break, this lower low. So with that being said, it's failed to go and break this. We've tapped into this 4 hour, this daily demand area, which we have. Let's just look at the daily. It taps into this daily demand and also the supply, and we're still getting some bullish movement away. So it's not the best because daily is bearish, of course, and 4 hour is also bearish. But it would be clean if we could try and see, if we can try and get that early trend that could be potentially happening. And the reason I like it at the moment is because if you look at the 4, you can see that the 4 hour trend is this. Market pulled back into this supply, and at this moment in time, we failed. Like if supply is truly in control, it should be doing this sort of movement. You can see how many candles it took. Eventually, 1, 2, 3, 4, just melted away. Look at the state of this right now, this consolidation. If supply was truly in control, it should have, for me, broken this low here already. And we haven't had that. So what's happened? So from this 4 hour leg, we've come back into this area, had a little reaction from, failed again to go and break a new lower low, and then we've had this bullishness away from it at this moment in time. And if you look at this scenario, and it is a risky one, I'm not gonna lie, it is very risky because it is bearish. You can see that we broke above, this high at this moment in time, which could be then telling us, okay, you need to look for longs on the Japanese yen. And if we look at the 2 of the 1, you can see that at the extreme level would be this area here that I'd be looking for, as a 1 hour demand area. And then that aligns with why we're looking for the opposite on USD Japanese yen, as you guys can see. So interesting. Let's see what happens. It is a risky one, like I did say, so just make sure that you keep that in mind. But yeah, man, going into some cross pairs before we finish. At this moment in time, AUD, CHF, I'm keeping my eye on this 4 hour supply area, which we've just tapped into. So I'm gonna, obviously come off this and keep an eye on a reaction from here to see if we can target these lows. CHF Japanese yen, I'm waiting to see a pullback because the daily is very, very bullish. So again, can we see if we can get some shots into a lower area of this? Um, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, we obviously have been extremely bearish. We had a daily change of trend. And then what I've been looking for on the four is maybe there's some sort of reactions from these 4 hour supply areas here. There's one here, and there's one here in which I'll be keeping my eye on. Yeah, CAD Japanese yen, bullishness from here. I'm not interested at this moment in time from that, to be fair. Euro CAD is a bit of a tricky one because this is our daily leg, this is our daily lower low, lower high. We've tapped into this forward supply, had a great reaction. So I'll be looking to potentially look for some shorts and then seeing how the market reacts on this 4 hour demand area. So that's what I'll be looking out for Euro CAD. And then Euro Japanese yen, we it's the same scenario, had an extremely amazing trade, but we are reacting from this 4 hour supply area. So I'm going to be looking to see if we can get some shorts into this 4 hour demand area here. And then Euro Great British Pound is in this daily supply candle. But yeah, man, I'm not going to cover any more at this moment in time. I'm going to obviously focus on what we have talked about. I've given a lot of value on here as well. So hopefully you guys appreciate it just as much as I appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in, liking the videos and just giving me some feedback. Or just tuning in general. I do appreciate it. So yeah, man. Other than that, have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. We will catch up tomorrow. Take care. God bless.